Welcome back. Our second lead this evening is more than just a spot of worry. India's ambitious Project Cheetah has seen a second setback in under 30 days. Another cheetah has died in Madhya Pradesh's Kuno National Park, putting a question mark on the much-hyped Translocation project. What you're seeing right now are CCTV visuals of Cheetah Uday. It can be seen struggling while walking, and eventually he collapses. The big cat was said to be healthy when it was brought here from South Africa some 2 months ago. On March 27th, barely a month ago, another cheetah, this time of Namibian origin, Sasha, had died because of a kidney ailment. So that's 2 cheetahs dead in less than a month. Now, in case you're wondering why this cheetah, why Uday is in captivity, fact is that right now, only 5 cheetahs have been released in the wild at the Kuno National Park. The rest are in captivity, something that is causing a lot of stress to these cheetahs. Now, Project Cheetah, as you know, was launched with much fanfare in September this year. The first batch of 8 cheetahs was translocated from Nambia and brought to the Kuno National Park. The Prime Minister had released the cheetahs in a widely televised event. And then in February this year, 12 more cheetahs were brought in, this time from South Africa. That is 20 in all. One cheetah has even given birth to 4 cubs, which made all of us smile. But after the death of 2 cheetahs, the Madhya Pradesh Forest Department is in a state of panic. It has written to the centre seeking alternate sites for the spotted animal. Officials say they simply don't have the logistical support and space and resources at the Kuno National Park for 20 cheetahs.
मुझे उस हिसाब से तो चिंता जैसी कोई बात दिखती नहीं है, क्योंकि एक्शन प्लान में भी ये बड़े प्रोमिनेंट तरीके से लिखा गया है कि चीता जैसे एनिमल के जो वो ट्रांसलोकेशन होते हैं, इनमें मोर्टेलिटी रेट बहुत हाई होता है. तो उसमें कोई ऐसी वो नहीं, बट कोई ऐसा जो सरप्राइज हमको ना मिले, इस कारण से हम लोग थोड़ा सतर्क हैं और सचेत हैं.
मध्य प्रदेश के कुनो नेशनल पार्क में लगातार दूसरे चीते की मौत हुई है. यह दुखद है. अभी तक सरकार ने पहले चीते की मौत की रिपोर्ट भी सार्वजनिक नहीं करी और ये दूसरे चीते की मौत हुई है. पहले चीते को बताया था कि वो बीमार था, लेकिन यह चीता तो हेल्दी था और अभी भी सरकार इस पर जवाब नहीं दे रही है कि ऐसा हुआ क्यों. इस वक्त कुनो में साउथ अफ्रीका और नामीबिया के वाइल्ड लाइफ एक्सपर्ट जो चीते में काम करते थे वो हैं. उनकी उपस्थिति में यह हादसा बहुत दुखद है. इसकी जो भी कारण है उनको आइडेंटिफाई करें और एक्शन ले.
दरअसल कुनो का जो क्षेत्र है और जो अभी वर्तमान उसके परिस्थितियां हैं वहाँ पे, ये बात सही है कि एक्शन प्लान ये कहता है कि वहाँ पे कुनो नेशनल पार्क के अधीन 20 से 25 चीता उसमें आप रख सकते हैं अधिकतम. लेकिन जो दूसरा कोई विकल्प है वो उस पे निर्णय लेने का अधिकार केवल भारत सरकार के पास है.
Let me go straight across to Govind, who is joining us live from Bhopal this evening. Govind, हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए बहुत-बहुत धन्यवाद. फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट जो है मध्य प्रदेश का, वो सरकार से, भारतीय सरकार से, सेंटर से ये क्यों कह रहा है कि चीतास के लिए, जो 20 चीता हैं, इनके लिए अब दूसरा घर ढूंढने की जरूरत पड़ गई है, कि कुनो नेशनल पार्क छोटा पड़ रहा है और हमारे पास लोग ही नहीं हैं कि हम इतने चीतों को संभाल सकें. ऐसा क्यों बोल रहा है मध्य प्रदेश का फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट? Guest. Okay, I believe Govind has, we've lost the connection to Govind. Let me go across to our guests who are joining us this evening. Arjun M. Gopalaswamy is founder and chief scientist at the CJ, at the Carcinoceals Global. I hope I got that pronunciation right. If I didn't, apologies. Naveen Raheja is former member of Project Tiger's steering committee. Let me come to Mr. Gopalaswamy first. Arjun Gopalaswamy, is it fair to say that a second death of a cheetah at the Kuno National Park in less than a month is a big setback to Project Tiger? Because we've just heard from some experts who say that whenever these translocations happen, mortality is something that you should expect.
Yeah, yes. Thanks, Shreya ji, for having me on. Well, actually, when we think about this translocation project, the very first step, of course, is to move the cheetahs from place A to place B. And the process of translocation, the immobilization, the sedation, and then the waking up of the carnivore always has a certain risk associated with it. So generally, in some sense, this translocation project has barely begun. We are really in stage one of this project because the whole idea is to have a free-ranging population or meta-populations of cheetahs in the wild. And at the moment, I think you said there were about 5 in the wild. I think it's 3 at the moment. 4 were released from Namibia, and one was brought back into the enclosures because it had gone away too far near UP, and it was tranquilized and brought back in. So I think we just have 3 that is now released into the wild. So this step within the enclosures is, of course, it's already a loss of 2 individuals, but more than that, I think what we must ask is, does India have the ability to even have a self-sustaining population at this point in time? And I think that's where we should pose the question. And according to what we have seen, and from some studies that I have personally been involved with in the Masai Mara, the action plan seems to have overestimated the carrying capacity, firstly within Kuno. And this means, at least according to what we have seen with cheetah populations, even in the best habitats in Africa, like the Serengeti or the Masai Mara, free-ranging cheetah populations exist only at 1 per 100 square kilometers, which means we can just have about 7. This is if it's absolutely ideal. And I don't think Kuno is ideal either, which means if the action plan said that we can hold 21 cheetahs within Kuno National Park, which is about 750 square kilometers, we have overestimated it by 3 times. And this can be a serious problem because if this overestimation has happened everywhere, it means that whatever we thought is a viable population of cheetahs, whether it's 60 or 100, is now going to cost 3 times that much more. It will require 3 times that much more effort. It requires 3 times that much more area. And I think we are severely short of habitat at the moment.
Naveen Raheja, has a mistake been made? The point is, Project Cheetah is an ambitious project. No one is questioning the intentions. These are good intentions, but they often say that the path to hell is paved with good intentions. Before such a big, massive, ambitious project is launched, I would assume that a basic geospatial mapping has been done. There is information available from all across the world on the sort of habitat, the area, the resources that having cheetahs out in the wild requires. All of that would have been done, and we won't be in a position where we are right now. Has a mistake been done, and is it time to recalibrate?
Is it a question to me?
Yes, Mr. Raheja, that question was for you.
Let me tell you, the Kuno was a natural habitat of cheetahs in the past as well. So, talking about that, this terrain or this territory is not ideal for the cheetahs. This has always remained ideal for the cheetahs. And this cheetah relocation program started, the government started working on it for more than 20 years now. Every aspect has been well studied. And in such kind of things, there are always mortalities involved. There are always the risks. When you do something, there is always a risk. There is no risk when you don't do anything. When we were not doing anything since last more than 60 years, there was no issue. But when we have done it, there will be naturally challenges as well. When cheetahs were, let me put it right, when cheetahs were going to be relocated to Kuno National Park, the internal assessment and study and risk factor was taken at 50% mortality. We have not got that. And in many, many instances where cheetahs have been relocated across the world, there have been mortalities even while relocating in the plains itself. So we should not be so pessimistic on it. We have done a great job for our country, and we have tried to. We are bringing something which we had lost, great legacy. So these are natural. Natural deaths can happen. I was talking about
No, no.
this cheetah
Nay,
only.
Mr. Raheja, all of that is fine.
Hmm?
Mr. Raheja, all
No,
that is
no,
very
this
fine. All that is
okay.
very fine. You're saying expect these mortalities. एक मेरा सवाल तो सुन लीजिए. Listen to my question. You're saying that these mortalities should be expected. Maybe you're right. Maybe these mortalities are to be expected. But the fact is that the Kuno National Park and the Madhya Pradesh Forest Department itself is writing to the center and saying, look guys, we can't take care of these 20 cheetahs. We don't have the space to do it. We don't have the resources to do it. If the Madhya Pradesh government itself wants a second home for cheetahs, it clearly means that there have been missteps, sir. And if there have been missteps, no shame in admitting them and recalibrating is all I'm saying.
No, it is always a learning process. The current officers, they have never bred cheetahs in India. We lost cheetah long time back. So naturally, there will be some learning process also.
1952.
So you cannot say that it's better not to do anything. We are very, very well within limits of mortality. This particular cheetah which died, only 2 days ago, it was hunting a cheetal, spotted deer, and it took a lot of effort to bring it down. So it was quite healthy. It is yet to be seen what was the reason. There can be any natural reasons.
Exactly.
So you cannot simply say that if one or two cheetahs have died, then there is something to be very alarming or so. No. We should
Arjun,
look
just
at
come in here.
we should look at the positive.
Okay. You are saying you're saying that look at it optimistically. 1952 is when cheetahs go extinct in this country. For 70 years, no cheetahs, and now we are making an effort. The government of India is making an effort to get them back, to repopulate the wild in this country with cheetahs. Please appreciate it. Don't find faults. But faults will be found if there are two cheetahs who are dead, one a perfectly healthy one. Arjun Gopalaswamy, would you want to respond very quickly to what Mr. Raheja has said? That there will be these deaths, there is a risk involved, and you need to take that risk. And B, the guys in Madhya Pradesh, the forest department simply doesn't know how to handle these cheetahs, which is why a sense of panic is being created, which is not required.
Yeah, two parts to this. The first, looking at these individual cheetahs, one has to go back to the history. So we have got two deaths so far. One was the one from Namibia, and now this Cheetah Uday from South Africa. The real question is, at least as the project proponents have been suggesting, at least with the second death, that this was in quarantine for a very long period, 8 months in South Africa and 2 months now in India, because they had to go through the quarantine, and a little after that in the acclimatization enclosure, they had to spend time. Now, this was apparently a wild caught cheetah, and any large carnivore which is wild caught does undergo a lot of stress when put into captive conditions. So when you take individual cases like this, one obviously has to follow the history and also get accurate information from the post-mortem as to why something like this happened. But I think I'm talking about a much larger picture here, and the basis of writing up the action plan. And I've studied the action plan, and I've also been aware of contemporary research in cheetah ecology, cheetah population ecology, since I've been involved in studies myself. And what was conspicuous here was two aspects missing. One was a lot of contemporary estimates of what cheetah population densities would be like. I'm talking about African cheetah population densities. They were not mentioned at all. So the problem here is, was the research
Okay.
thorough enough? And I think there's a problem there. The second problem is people
Okay.
don't seem to have understood how different cheetah ecology is compared to lion ecology or tiger ecology or leopard ecology. Because with tigers and leopards, as you bring
Okay.
in more prey, you tend to also be able to pack more tigers or lions, for example. And we get a huge range. And for example, in the very same study site that I worked in, lion densities occur at 17 lions per 100 square kilometers, whereas cheetah densities occur only
Okay.
at 1. And nowhere in Africa do we see an
Okay.
occurrence beyond that. So if Kuno will sustain something
So
like
essentially,
3, now we should also consider that if you go to the initial version of the action plan prepared in 2010 and in the report in 2011, which is there as part of this action plan, actually it was projected that we'll have up to 8
okay.
cheetahs per 100 square kilometers, which is ridiculously high for a free-ranging
Okay.
population. And I think there's a confusion. In South Africa, we
Okay.
have fenced-in
Okay.
populations. So the moment
So,
you put an electric fence, now the game changes completely. You can have many more cheetahs
so
because
Mr.
it's just dependent on how much food there is.
What
The
essentially you're
moment
telling
you
us is, okay, fair point. So essentially what you're telling us is that maybe the research was off, it wasn't thorough. And secondly, we simply cannot accommodate 20 cheetahs at Kuno. It is something that anyone who was handling this project should have known and would have known, given the experiences of other countries around the world. We leave it there for the moment. Thank you very much, Mr. Gopalaswamy, for joining us, and Mr. Raheja for joining us as well. It was good to speak to you and get your perspective. I'm slipping into a quick break on the show. There's a report that is coming to us from Sudan as well next. Do stay with us.